Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel, Hands on Your Shoulders. My name is Monty Joseph. I've been in sobriety for 34 years now, and today's topic is going to be fairly simple, but at the same time, like I do know as to and understand as to why it would be so difficult to follow through with this piece. Um, it when you're in an addiction, and it's so hard to actually get out, because some of it even has to do with, like, oh, when can I do this, when is going to be the best time, and unfortunately there just isn't that. There isn't like a best time to actually do it and to come out of that. So a lot of times people kind of like, it's I don't know how to do this. I don't know what's going to happen afterwards. And it can be that challenging in regards to actually just, stopping. But here's what I suggest you do. Gather enough information to kind of figure out as to what you want your sobriety to look like. In other words, like when you do stop, you're physiologically going to be changing, because your brain is going to start having a fog lift, and you're going to start seeing things a lot differently. And it's not an immediate thing, but it does start to happen. And essentially what you're going to be looking at is learning how to be sober in life's little challenges. And a lot of it is going to be part of like getting rid of all the things that you cannot control, right? And that is essentially what a lot of starting over is like. It's letting go of the things that you have no control over. And so I would suggest that you just start. Pick a day. Pick a Friday, pick a Saturday or something. Pick a Friday because you're worried about DTs, where you end up with the shakes and, the hot and cold sweats and all that sort of stuff. Pick a date where you can actually detox yourself. And then that way you kind of start, with that happening over a weekend, where you're not going to be at work or something along those lines. The reason for that is because, like, you just have to pick a day and start. And once you can actually pick a day and start, then everything else starts to kind of fall into place. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Now, a lot of people think that it's like an immediate success, and you pick a day, you quit, and you stop. The physical addiction piece, and your mind just wants to go back. And that is always going to be the next piece of the fight, because your addiction definitely remembers everything in regards to all the, hey, remember how we used to use, and we would forget, and we were happy, and we didn't have a worry in the world at the time, and it's almost like your addiction talks you back out there. And it happens, to the best of us and to the worst of us. And it will actually kind of get to us, and we will end up using, and sometimes all it is like, we saw someone, and it's like reminds us of all the times that we spent with that person in our addiction. And then, or even a smell, it could be, like the smell of a cigarette, and next thing you know, you're wanting to drink, because that's what you associate the two with, is, smoking and drinking. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It does get easier. And essentially what you end up having to go through is that hard piece. But once you get to the other side, it does get easier. And yeah, there will be moments where your mind says, like, hey, remember those good times. And it will want you to go back out there because your addiction is sitting right at the very edge and, almost whispering in your ear on your shoulder type thing. So just know and be aware of that. And know that your addiction just has no good intentions whatsoever. So long as you can remember as to why you are quitting. And if it may be at first, yeah, something very selfish, like something external, like someone else, I'm quitting for them, or I'm quitting for this, sure, start there. But eventually let it be about you quitting for you. Eventually, if that's what it needs to be. Once again, I'm Monty Joseph. Thanks for taking the time to listen. And as always, take care, be safe, and play nice with the other kids.